Mhm. Oh, dude, I not look good. Taji, you. Mm. So, anyways, as I try to sell you my course, and you keep not. Jesus Christ, to the rebound. You know, Trump went to China, and you know, I got something to say about it. Let's not pretend I'm not political. As much as I am interested in mental health, and as much as I want to, I want you to buy my classes so that I can make some coins. Let's not pretend that this girl is not political, okay? Cause, cause I've been watching all these weird things, you know? Okay, Trump goes to China. Trump goes to China, okay? And and um and Trump gets a very presidential treatment. I don't even think I don't even think Trump in America has gotten a better presidential treatment than the one he got in China, okay? Cause I was making coffee. Wait a minute. Let me go grab my coffee. Oh, wait. It's smelling. Oh my God, it's right. This is a story not only about what happened, but how it was allowed to happen. Oh. So I was making some coffee, okay? Because me sometimes I am very, very cheap. So I bought coffee yesterday. Look at what happened, okay? I forgot I was making coffee. So now I got no coffee because it all dried while I was putting on my wig. Girl, girl, this life, this life is giving me hell right now. No, I don't got no coffee in this Trump economy. I done boiled all my coffee down. I forgot. This is when I think I'm getting amnesia. Okay? I put on coffee because I want to save time to go put on my wig so that I can sit down and explain to you my take on China and Trump going to China. And now, guess what? I don't have coffee. That means that we are going to hold on about China being late. I mean, about China. See, I'm even confused about Trump going to China. Let's just stop there for a minute because there are things that you need to know about Trump going to China that I see it with mine own eyes, that are wise. Remember, I have a degree in political science, okay? I went 4 years of school to study systems, to study governments, to know what's going on. My take is just as important as Jeffrey Sachs, okay? Because Jeffrey Sachs, my guy, we see things together. That tells you that whatever I tell you about politics, okay, we're just going to add more water to this pot that was already kind of like whatever. And we're going to make another cup of coffee, okay? Don't worry, you die once, okay? We're still going to use the same pot. We're not gonna clean it. We're just gonna add water and coffee and make, okay? That's how I roll. I live a stress-free life. That's how we're gonna do it today. Okay. No stress, no distress, just coffee. I got this coffee that has mushrooms. You know, I always recommend that you use mushrooms. Oh shit. Mia. Oh. I was wondering why it looks like there's oil in my coffee, but I remember like I had put some cream. That's why it is. Don't send me messages for review because I don't review your messages. I don't review messages because some of you be making very nasty comments on my post traumatic bliss. High overtone, right? And that's why I don't review them. Write something where all of us are good to see. My skin beautiful. You know what? I'm healing slowly, slowly. It's healing. Derek Palmer told me to do this hot and cold therapy, and actually, it's working. So I'm so happy that it's working. Um, this week's been so busy because I'm working on post traumatic bliss class. I'm going to tell you guys to buy my class whenever it's up. Buy it. Watch the video slowly, slowly, slowly. Especially when you have a very, like less motivated day, go to those class and watch them and pay because this girl needs some coins. We need to make money, and the business of motivating people, the business of mental health is just as good business as everybody else's business. Okay, now I'm political. I go there. I go there. I don't care. I will go there. Where people don't want me to go, I go. Right? I go. And this is what we are going to talk about today. We're going to see what President Trump did with that meeting to Jinping, to Xi Jinping. He has a complicated name, but you know why? Your future depends on it. Your future depends on it. Some of you like to imagine that you don't live in a political system. I want to beat you up. You want to believe that what happens in China is not affecting you because you're here in the United States. Because it, I don't understand. You're going to understand that what happens in China affects your life. So we gotta talk about it. It affects your mental health, even if you don't think it does. I have studied mental health and political science. I know that both of them affect you. You just need to piece the two pieces together and see the whole grand photo. Now, okay, now that my second cup of coffee has boiled, the other one literally boiled out. I just started taking coffee last week. Hi, John. See, when you send me some love, I remember your name. You know, you come here, you send me a smile and some love. I'll remember you. I remember you, right? Some people are not charming at all. You come to my channel and you're not charming. Hi, Atem. These people, everybody, President, China is fully surveilled, right? Everybody's surveilling China because President Xi doesn't give you any freedom. Okay, let me take my tea back. Okay, let's talk. Let's talk politics, I guess. I'm using my fork to stir my coffee um, because I don't have time to look for my spoon. I don't have time to overthink my life. No, okay? Welcome, welcome to my crazy world. I know you love it. I know you love it. Yeah, I just put some cream, a little bit of cream. Okay, let's go. Before I start talking about how I was doing fasting yesterday and then I broke my fast and I didn't want to. Sometimes you fail, and I'll probably start again today. But you know why I failed? I was working on one of those classes that I'm giving you guys. And sometimes you need some energy to focus. So I broke my fast so that I can write my class on financial advice that I'm going to give you that's going to transform your life. You guys, if you don't invest in my classes when I'm making them cheap, when I'm putting time, you have to buy my classes, okay? I didn't say like please buy. I said you gotta, you better, you must for your own good and the future of your families. Okay? My classes are top notch. Okay. Now let's talk. Now that I have my coffee, let's start talking about President Xi in in China. Let's go back. Trump in China. Before we go to about what they talked about, okay? I want you to see this, okay? Let's just look at how Trump was welcomed in China, okay? Look, President Xi, okay? Let's do where there's no glare, okay? He's lining up people, armies, everybody, giving him the presidential treatment, right? Like, look at Z standing there, Chinese flags, everything, okay? Like, look, right? Like, everybody is waiting for this occasion. Military men, okay? I know you probably don't see this like it's a big deal, okay? But they're here, all of them lined up to meet the president. Like, this is presidential. Like, even Trump does not get this in America, okay? Look at all these people lining up, okay? Look, look, look at how they're lining up over here, right? Trump got very presidential treatment. Look, everybody is here. Um, look, they 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 welcomed President Trump. Like, look at the respect he got from China. China, they are very respectful, right? This very presidential treatment. Look, look, they even have kids here to cheer President Trump, right? This is just him coming, right? Look, and this shows you that how Beijing is respectful to the United States and the business, the partnerships, and everything, right? He meets the president of China, right? Already, you can see Trump being disrespectful, okay? 2 minutes in, he's already touching him on the shoulder. Why are you touching President Xi on the shoulder? He's not your boyfriend. He's not your friend. He's the president of China. Okay? Why you keep your hands to yourself? This is what is disgusting. Okay? Right, this is what he you come to China, you see all the flags, the police, everybody respecting you, but you just gotta be little Donnie. You, instead of, wait, is my nose like crooked? Okay. Maybe it's okay. Right, he just like, you see, I mean, I showed you like all this whole treatment, right? Like, this video is like 20, like more than 20 minutes, so I'm kind of fast forwarding it, right? But you see like how, like all this, like, look at that, look at the parade, look, right? I'm fast forwarding it. Look, right? What does Trump do? Try to put his look. What is that? What is that? What, he's trying to show Z the way in his own country. He is trying to he is trying to direct President Z, she, how you say it, in his own country. It's like, we are going this way, dude. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, like, this is not your country. Like, this is not your fucking country. Like, body language tells you his President Trump is arrogant and he wants to play with the big boys. Okay? He wants to play with the big boys, but this dude don't know how to like, you're in China. You're in another empire. Okay? You can see the empire. Okay? Because like President Z is not like playing around when he's hosting you. Okay, like, be the host, feel like a host. This is not your country, this is not somewhere you start like showing people where to go. You being hosted, behave like a host, like you behave like a guest, right? You're not the host, you're the one being hosted. Everything here, right, you did not arrange it. They have the plan, they have the agenda, like, okay, look at how Beijing, they're playing music as they walk on the red carpet, right? Mm-hmm. He's being given the ultimate president. He will never get this kind of presidential treatment anywhere in the world, okay? Right? And I know Beijing does this to make him feel a little bit intimidated. Okay. Okay. Because President Z is also a motherfucker, okay? He's always has this like smiling, like he's smiling, right? But President Z looks like he's always having this perpetual smile. Look at him, right? That's the smile of a true psychopath. Okay? I'm not saying he's a good president, okay? I know he's killed a bunch of people, but he still wake up every morning and put on this smile. Okay, he still wake up every morning and put like these devious smile over there. I don't know if you can see. I know sometimes, oh, that's right, right, you, you see his devious smile, you see, you see, That's the smile of a man who wakes up every day and decides that person unalive him. True psychopath, okay? But but okay, he did go out of his way to give Trump the presidential event as the leader of the United States, as the leader of a superpower, okay? He went all in on Trump, okay? He didn't leave crumbs. He went all in. I can only imagine what Trump has on his room where they are hosting him, you know? I don't think Trump has to lift a finger of anything. If Trump thinks about it, somebody else like reads that thought telepathically and it's delivered to him. I tell you, I know that's the kind of treatment that he's getting. I know, I know that's the kind of treatment that he is getting, right? I know that's the kind of treatment that. Now let's look at Z and Chinese President Z and Trump handshake. You know, because handshake is everything. Okay? Handshake is everything. And I was looking at this handshake and it made me uncomfortable. The handshake made me uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable, but I'll let you judge yourself. I'll let you judge for yourself. Okay, this is what you need to know about handshakes. Okay? Whoever's hand is on the top tells you everything about who is dominant in that relationships, right? And everybody knows in the world who has the power, okay? Right? Whoever, why are they shaking with the left hand? Probably because President Z is left-handed. Whoever's hand is on the top decides this relationship and who is dominant. Okay? You decide for yourself. I told you it was going to be awkward. I told you it was going to be awkward. President Z, his palm is obviously on the top, unless you don't see it, right? You see? You see the dominance? Okay? Trump doesn't like it. Okay? Trump doesn't like that dominance and he goes ahead and tries to pat President Z. And that's when you see the weird hand squeezing from President Z. Wanna see it again? You know, that handshake tells you, I am on the top. You get it? Well, maybe you're a little bit on the top. No, I said, bitch, I'm on the top. That's the handshake. That's what it's telling you. Mm. Mm. Body language, body language never lies to you. Okay? Human beings, we are not able to lie to the body. That is why they use lie detectors to sniff out liars, okay? Because you're not able to lie to your body. Obviously, I think these handshakes are agreed on ahead of time. Who's going to be on the top, depending on who has the power in that relationship, okay? Right? So, like, who has more leverage, right? The person who has more leverage has more power. So it's kind of probably agreed even before like everything starts, like who's going to be on the top. Okay. So let me see some of you what you guys are talking about on social media and what you think about that handshake. Somebody said here, Wanderlust says, Trump, I have all the cards. Z, the cards are made in China. You know, uh, I mean, there was no hugging there. There's a difference between handshaking and hugging, but that was not a hug. Someone is saying Jinping did not receive Trump at the airport. He did all this, and you start saying that all he didn't do was to receive Trump at the airport. Z is not going to receive you in the airport, even if you're Donald Trump, okay? Um, I know some of you have hate for Trump, um, but I don't hate Trump. I just feel like this is way kind of like out of his league. Okay, this is how he was received. Let me put this thing. Okay, this is how, girl. Look at all this happening in China. Like, look how he was received. You guys, like, some people are like, oh, Z did not receive like Donald Trump at the airport. Is that material to like what? Look at how Trump got received by President Z, right? I'm sure even Trump was intimidated. I don't think Trump would have done all this for President Z. The motorcade, the flags. Of course, Z is trying to batter him up. Of course, and he's also trying to intimidate him at the same time. Chief, of course, he's trying to batter him up and he's trying to intimidate him at the same time. Like, oh, you talk shit about China, you think we are a small empire? Like, look at our army. Look at our disciplined policemen, men in uniform. If you ever want to come to war with us, you will have to contend with this shit. You know, he's trying to intimidate him. And I'm thinking he's doing a good job. And I'm thinking he's doing a good job. Okay? because this is his one time to show Trump in 2026 like China is not a country you want to make an enemy. You know, he's trying to show him like, hey, we want peace, but look, if we wanted to fight you, we can. Like what you're seeing right here is just to welcome a president into China. Like he's trying to give him all these subliminal messages, right? Yeah, he's trying to batter him up. Like, of course, he wants to batter him up. He wants President Trump to feel like the president that deserves men in uniform, disciplined men in uniform to line up and greet. He wants him to feel like we here in China, we recognize you're the president of the United States. And hey, you decided to come to China for us to host you. Oh, we are not leaving budget for you. Okay? We are not sparing any coins for you. Okay? Because we've made trillions and trillions of dollars from your empire, we are not gonna spare a coin to show you that you're the president of the United States, you know, and we respect you as I, I respect the voice of the American people as much as I don't like Trump, right? And I think he's a loser president. I respect that he's the president of the United States and the people of the United States decided that they want this loser president. So I respect that, right? And so does China. Okay. And so does China. And as much as they batter him up and they respect him, this is a show that they respect the United States as a nation, right? They respect the United States as a nation. And he's the leader of that great empire. You know, he is the leader of this empire, right? Right now, people decided they want him to be the leader, you know, even though he has very unpresidential language, right? Like grabbing women by the P word, stuff like that. Like I've never had somebody like Obama say that, President Z say stuff like that, right? America chose that to be the president. It's embarrassing, but hey, right? They have to respect him. And so they do. I don't think they think much of him, but well, he is the commander of some nuclears that could eradicate a lot of people on the planet. So they gotta respect that too. Okay? Even if you think the president is a fool, you still gotta respect and show respect and come out showing respect. And China knows how to play that game. Look at all those flags. Okay? It is kind of sexy that their flags are like the dragon, like fire. And they're like, oh, they're lined up. Like, I mean, China has the aura. Okay. Okay. If you guys believe in energy and all that shit, right? China knows how to put on the aura, right? The show, right? Right? Let's fast forward to the next show, right? Oh, wait, when did President Trump arrive? It fast forwards there. That's the flag. See? He takes him through the walk to see the army. Like, this is very old school, right? Even they have children to cheer them up as they are walking. Okay, maybe this is not showing a very good let me see another video that shows like shows them entering. That President Z. That's, I think, Trump's motorcade. And this motorcade, right? You can see how the army extends. Like, I mean, they are driving and they're surrounded by armies. You can see like all those people standing up or the flags. Like everywhere that Trump is driving, I'm sure from the point the Air Force One landed, everywhere he was met by the army and flags of China and President Xi just trying to intimidate him with China's. Look at the motorcade, okay? He's showing him like, you're safe in China. Nobody's gonna touch you here, okay? We got your security covered, the motorcade, the everything. He's giving him like these old school presidential treatments. Like Trump has never seen this kind of shit, even here in America. He goes to rallies here in Arizona, somewhere, people don't give a shit. Look at the kind of presidential treatment that he's getting from China, right? Look, look at his motorcade. I mean, China has the aura, okay? China has that aura that, like, we gotta make you see and feel, because they understand that human beings, they see and feel with emotions. That's our language, you know, our emotions, how we feel. China understands that that's our language. That's a human language. Emotions are the human language. Everything else that we talk about, like language, like whatever, right? Our emotions are the language. And so by the time President Trump get to that handshake, just to get to Z, he shows President Trump, like, just to get to me, this is how you get to me as president of China. You have to go through a motorcade, you have to go through a parade, you will have to go through. I told you they got like that Chinese aura thing. He gets out of the car and music starts. Okay? Handshake, awkward handshake. You see? Oops. Ooh. Wait. Whoa. Oh, let's go back. How did we move that fast? Okay. You see, immediately, even the very first handshake, first handshake, you can see President Z, his hand is on top. He's telling him, whatever you just experienced, this is my empire. This is my place. Trump tries, and that is very, very disrespectful to pet him. He's trying to pet the president of China. Another bad mistake shows, like, already he's 2 minutes into China. Okay, and this is why I tell you, body language is everything. 2 minutes into China, okay, and he's already told the president of China that he's being intimidated. You know, even you gotta learn how to play cool. And Trump loses his cool. He doesn't know how to play cool. Hmm? Okay. If I'm picking up on this, right? And I'm telling you, President Z is a psychopath, means his emotional intelligence is way higher than mine because I'm not a psychopath. I've never killed anybody. I know some of you don't believe it. I know. I don't know why when I smile, I feel like my nose is kind of like going that way. I know some of you don't believe it. That I have never killed anybody. Like I'm not like President Z. Okay. But this guy, to be where he is, he gotta be emotionally intelligent. And I'm sure he's unalived a few people. So I know he has EQ better than mine. I never claim to have more emotional intelligence than anybody. I've had my own share of failings. I am pretty sharp, but this dude is a psychopath, okay? So if he will sense weakness, he will sense weakness. And let me tell you, President Trump shows his weakness almost immediately. Almost immediately, he shows, and sometimes these things be letting me down. Girl, you see, he tries to pet him, right? And then he pets him at the back. You just saw that. You saw that light charge. Let me show you. He tries to pet him. Right. Let me see if I can pause it. You know, you seen it right there. Let me try to stop it. Okay, this is when he gets out and the music starts. Now he's getting out of the motorcade. Okay. Trump is not happy with the handshake, obviously, because you can see President Z starts his handshake from the top. He's left-handed and dominates Trump hand like this. President Z's and like that. Trump doesn't like it, and he tries to kind of pat him, like like that tells you Trump is uncomfortable with the power position. He's just uncomfortable. That's why he tries to pet the president, right? And then he tries to pat him like that. It tells you he is trying. You know how when you're uncomfortable and you're with your partner and you kind of try to hold hands with your partner because you're kind of feeling uneasy? I don't know why he didn't bring Melania with him, because it would have been easy, right? But I think these presidents, they are like, we are not bringing our wives in this business. Okay. Leave your bitch. I leave my bitch. This is just presidential. I guess that's how they decided to play it this time. Okay. That's how they decided to go with this time around. Okay. They're like, don't bring Melania. We don't need her. Right? Power is shifting from America, obviously. Um, a lot of Americans don't want to admit this. They don't want to see this, but hey, let me tell you, but this relationship better be good between China and the US because if that relationship, okay, let me wait. I don't want you to see parts of my week, okay? Okay, now let's just now let's see. Oh, why why do you keep doing this to me? Shit, my phone. Okay, let's do this again. Okay. Now this and the home of the brave. Okay, okay. The Star Spangled Banner, right? They even play it for Trump. And President Z is like this, and Trump is like, man, salute, okay? He even put the salute on. This is China, okay? This is how China welcomed Trump, okay? Old school, military, like we're not playing with this shit. We are playing your anthem when you come here, right? To acknowledge your presence here in the in the Republic of China or the empire, whatever it is. We know it's not a democracy. It's not the land of the free over there, okay? It's not, right? They they have the American flag. Let me tell you, China will always pull one on you, okay? You see how beautiful they have the flag of the United States over there, okay? Right? They also have theirs there, but they make sure they have a billion of Chinese flags on top. They still make sure they have like 10 billion flags on top. Okay? So that, you don't stay comfortable and forget where you are. Okay? They have these two powerful colors, yellow and red. Like, you're not gonna beat those colors with aura. It's yellow and red. Or the aura of their flags, like this fire, this red, whatever. Okay? Very good, right? I'm telling you, they were scintillating President Trump. Okay? They were going to scintillate him. They were going to make him feel like $1 trillion, okay? Not just $1 million, right? Now, that's the Chinese. Look at their flags. Mm, look at the way he marches, like a toy soldier. 'I tell you, China has this aura, okay? Okay. Even Trump is like, what the hell's going on here? Okay, like why do these two presidents have to be so unfit? It's like they don't go to the gym, they, they don't eat well. Like, if you're the freaking president of the whole nation, you don't think you want to live longer? Like, they need to take my post-traumatic stress class where I show them how to eat and, lose weight. Like, you should also take my class. But anyway, like, I don't get it. Like, look at them looking like clowns, like not looking healthy at all, and they're the leaders of the free world. Like, I don't even understand it at this time, you know why people can just eat healthy, especially like presidents. Like, they could they could have a dietitian, they could have a nutrition, they could have a yoga instructor. Like, they got more money than they can wake up and have, like, why not take care of yourself and your body? Like, I don't like how unhealthy they are. Okay. Even this made Trump smile. Even this one had to make Trump smile. Even he clapped his hands. Oh, President Trump clapped his hands. He almost gave President Z a hug again. And I'm like saying, now, Trump, now keep your hands to yourself, bro. You know, don't try to give President Z a hug again. Like, I know now, like, you're getting, like, you feel like your besties, like, from high school. Trump is dancing, okay? If it was Obama, Obama would have been there dancing, okay? Because, he got, how black people we are. But, you know, President Trump has clapped his hands like 3 times, and I'm counting. Okay. Okay. President Trump almost danced. Okay. Like, this was a joyous occasion. Okay. I'm telling you, all this walking is going to make Trump healthier again, because these Chinese people are making him walk. Like, look at all those stairs. Does he have to climb all those stairs again? Is he gonna make it? Because, like, they're like, I see like a pile of them over there. Look, look at the aura. Why did they gotta do that to the flag? Like, like, make it so like, oh. how they march. This was just to intimidate or impress Trump. Now I know President Trump is thinking, this is how it feels to be a president. People marching for me. You know how Trump likes to be seen as the king. Okay? Now this is a moment that he's going to remember forever. This one moment he's sharing with President Z over here, he's never going to forget it a day in his life, because this is Trump's dream come true. Okay? This is Trump's dream come true. Going to another country as the head of state and being received as a guest. This is why President Trump never wanted President Z to come to the United States. President Trump wanted to go to China for this. He wasn't going to allow that meeting to happen here. Hell no. Would you? If it was you, would you want to have this experience, or would you want to come to the US and sit in the Oval Office? This is much better. Exactly. This is the disappointment of the parade. This is what Trump wanted. And President Z, I tell you, this motherfucker has emotional intelligence, and you just don't believe me. Of course, he knew this. This President Z has emotional intelligence, okay? He knows Trump wants a parade, a presidential parade. He invites him and gives him the occasion. And this is the worst thing you can do for somebody like Trump. Because Trump will think like President Z likes him. He will not remember that President Z is his number one enemy. Okay? This is going to blind him with his ego. They are serving him. They are serving him. Okay? You need to know how these people work. This is like a sacrifice. Okay? This is a ritual, okay? Who's being sacrificed here? You think Trump is Trump is eating at all of it. He's eating it all up. He's going to forget his Benjamin Netanyahu. He's never been received anywhere like this, not in Israel, not in the United States, not on his best birthday. Okay? William, welcome to our channel. We got a new subscriber. Okay? Trump has never been received like this anywhere, not even his birthday, not even at his wedding. Not even at his wedding. Okay? This makes him feel like the president of the United States, which is his biggest achievement. Do you know how much this is to Trump's ego? Because Trump has the most fragile ego, this is an ego boost. And this is why it's dangerous. This is why it's dangerous. Because President Z is a psychopath. Okay? He will give you this treatment and turn around and nuke you. But will Trump have the foresight and the wisdom to see? Because we have the most unwise president. Will he be able to see through this mess? And now they are talking, oh, is this how it's built? And that is the history, and that is that, and that is that. This is so impressive. I tell you, he gave him the presidential treatment. Like, I mean, even you must be impressed at how President Trump was received. I can tell you, in his lifetime, President Trump has never been received like that anywhere in the world. Not on his birthday, not on his wedding. And he's been married like 5 times. Okay, I'm sorry. It's three. Well, many times has he been married? 3 times. Ivanka, the other girl, and then Ivana. Sorry, Ivanka is the daughter. Ivana, the other girl that they had one daughter, I guess, and then Melania, right? I don't think he had that treatment on his weddings. I don't think he had that treatment even on the presidential inauguration of the United States. His 2 times, he never got that, right? This is the best reception like he'll ever get in his lifetime, right? Like nobody's topping China because China put billions, millions of dollars into that one event. But don't think that means they're best friends. Or the president. Remember, President Z is a psychopath. He unalived people a lot, many people, right? He's unalived people. You get? It means that he smiles at people and then tells his soldiers, unalive him, right? Uncomfortable moments. Over and over, right? You see, it's Trump trying to get closer to Z, like, and Z is like, don't get close to me. Like, I'm not touching you. Don't touch me. Don't pet me. He's like, let's show the world we are besties. Like, pat me and I pat you. Z's like, mm-mm. No, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't you touch me. You don't touch me. We're not best friends from high school. Don't touch me. Right? And it's important for Trump to be seen like is my for Trump for the world to see that they are friendly with President Z right now because it's important for him with the war going on in Iran to portray to the world like we are like this. We are like pinky swear friendships. We are so tight. You see, I'm petting him. Z is like ice queen. You're petting who? Right? He's like, who you petting? Me? Petting me? He's not petting him back. Mm-mm, right? Body language always tells you some story. This is another moment, okay? Remember, they're in China. This is President Xi's territory. And Trump, Trump lacks, like, I don't know why. Trump has had money, but Trump wasn't educated on the etiquette of the high class, of the elites, right? And and I guess that's why they never ever liked him, because he doesn't have good manners, from his language to his behavior. He's very, very, like, kind of crude and uncultured. And look at this, right? Like, he kind of like doesn't understand, like what's going on here. You're in China, you know, you're getting directions from your host. You're the guest, right? But he's trying to give President Xi directions, like, right? That is rude. That is rude. And for somebody who wants to go, and, and for and for somebody who wants to go to China and have and showcase that they have a good relationship with President Xi, kind of showing that kind of body language and disrespect, uh, whether he knows he's doing it or not, usually is not a good thing, right? Okay. Now, the burning issue on this conflict. Taiwan belongs to China. And China already said Taiwan is never going to be free. Like, Taiwan belongs to China, like it's like a territory of China. The United States, like, wants China, like, they want to put a military base in Taiwan. And that's why they keep saying, oh, Taiwan needs to be independent. China already said, like, the United Nations already recognized Taiwan as part of China, right? They recognize Taiwan as part of China. There's no debate in the United Nations. Taiwan got conquered by China. They're part of China. There's not going to be independence for Taiwan. And President Xi said that the United States and China are going to go into a full blown out war if there's any talk about independence of Taiwan. He made this clear right here in this meeting. He's like, bitch, we're not talking about Taiwan, okay? Okay. Yeah, he's like, that's what China is like, right? President Xi was like, first, we want an economy where we are having peace and we are trading peace. So the outcome, uh, America's position. So it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. What matters right now is China's position on the global issues. and why obviously Trump went there. And President Z is like, forget, let's not even talk about Taiwan. Like, that is one issue that China told the United States very openly, without mincing without mincing words, that if the United States starts talking about Taiwan becoming independent, it's very, very big issue. It's kind of like China started talking about California becoming independent outside of the United States. It's kind of like China saying California can have its own independent government outside of the United States. That would be a very big issue for the United States. Another country out of nowhere imagine if 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 President Z came and put a military base in California. The United States would be mad, right? If he came and started putting nuclear weapons and stuff, military bases here in California, of course the United States would be mad. And that's why China told President Trump in this meeting, you talk about Taiwan, you talk even mention about Taiwan, you're threatening a territory of China, and we're going to war. President Z is like, bitch, don't talk about Taiwan. I'm not even here to talk about Taiwan. Okay? That is President Z. It's like, we can talk about Iran, we can talk about trade and tariffs and stuff like that. But United States is not going to put any military base, any kind of military anything in Taiwan, because Taiwan is China. You get that? We're not talking about it. Like, this is not something that we're going to talk about. China was very clear. Like, you threaten to invade Taiwan, you threaten to call Taiwan independent or whatever. Taiwan is part of China. He was like, there is no independence for Taiwan. There is no this political mimicry game that you're going to talk about Taiwan. If you talk about it, you're going to war. I told you President Z was a psychopath, and you guys don't. You don't even comment here. I told you President Z is not a psychopath. He's a psychopath. I told you he killed people. I promise you, I haven't killed anybody. I hope not to have killed anybody before I die, okay? It's not something I want to do. Unless, like, I'm forced to, defend myself or my children or something. And I don't have children, so I don't even have to worry about that. I really don't want to have to kill anybody. President Z, though, I told you, he smiles all every time. He has this smile. That's the smile of a psychopath. Because we know he killed people yesterday or the day before. Or sometime this year, he must have ordered somebody to die. He's surveilling China. Everywhere in China, there's a camera looking at you if you're going to die tomorrow or not. Okay? Everybody in China lives in fear because of being surveilled. Surveillance is a thief. That's the man that tells you, if you talk about Taiwan and about Taiwan becoming independent, we're going to go, we are prepared to fight you. We are prepared to go in a full-blown out war. Believe that. Believe him. Believe him, right? Believe him when he makes a threat like that to the United States. Mm, believe it. No more China. Nobody's talking anymore about Taiwan. The whole world should just rest and understand, like, Taiwan got annexed by China. you know, they did a whole massacre there. Okay, it was a massacre. Okay, it was a massacre there when China took Taiwan. Why did China take Taiwan? Because Taiwan was talking about being independent and putting US military base in Taiwan. And you know, Taiwan is so close to China. And China was like, no, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. And because you don't think I'm going to take that whole territory and it's going to be part of China. And China did that, and it's end of story. You know, it's just the same way like Putin told Ukraine, do not put military bases in from the United States in Ukraine because it's a matter of time until I I take you out. I'm gonna take you out one day. And Ukraine was like, bitch, I'm gonna do what I want to do. If I want to sell drugs here, if I want to have the most corrupt nation here, I'll do it in front of your face, Moscow. And Moscow was like, bitch, you'll see. You'll see. You will see. Wait till Sleepy Joe becomes president of the United States. I know he won't have the guts to attack me and I'm gonna invade you. And he did. Okay? A lot of you say, oh, Putin is weak. If he was strong, he could have destroyed Ukraine by now. Ukraine could have been destroyed by now. You know, the only thing that's keeping Ukraine alive right now is Europe and the United States. They are the only one who keep helping Ukraine. Okay? If Ukraine did not have if Ukraine did not have let me warm my coffee. If Ukraine did not have the support of the United States and and Europe, Ukraine would have been gone by now. Okay? Ukraine would have been gone by now. And wait till Putin has something to give Trump. Because you know Trump can be bought. Wait till Putin has a little bit of leverage that he can present to Trump. Trump will sell Ukraine in a heartbeat. Okay. Trump would sell Ukraine in a heartbeat like this to Moscow. Okay. You know Trump and money. Trump cannot resist money. I don't even know what he was going to do with money because he's like 80 something. You know, he doesn't have that much life in him. You know, it's not like he's going to live to 150. Like, I don't know what he's going to do with all that money. But Trump likes what he likes. You know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. He doesn't have many new tricks. You see how it was easy for China to make Trump clap, right? The presidential treatment, all that. It was so easy, right? Trump always wanted to feel presidential. He always wanted to have, you know, to feel, you know, he got like that 400 million jets from some Arab country. You would think he'd be presidential and say, you know, as the leader of the United States, as somebody who values my country above anything else, we are not going to take such gifts from you because that can be seen as compromising and it can compromise the security of the United States. You know, a president receiving like kind of like a bribe so openly. No, he took it. He took it. Lord have mercy. Okay. Hey, I come from African countries. I know any other African country would accepted it too. Okay? Africa is the queen of corruption. Mm. Yeah. So, well, let me just warm my cup of coffee. I wanted to talk about that presidential. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about that. That presidential welcome Trump had in China. And I think it's good for everybody to see and kind of analyze it. Um, China said it wants world peace. Okay. And this is another issue that I see China and the United States, they're not well aligned at all. Okay. China still says that they want world peace, they want good trading relationships with the United States. The US wants to go out on an all-out war. US wants to go out on war. 2026 is the year of war. Remember the Department of Homeland, is it Homeland Security that was turned into Department of War when Trump became president? It's now Department of War. Let me see. Or changing to the Department of War, right? Remember, the United States wants to go to war, but China doesn't want to go to war. So the United States and China have two things that they are not in agreement about. One, like China said outrightly, you mentioned Taiwan, anything about independence of Taiwan, anything about military bases in Taiwan, that one is a non-negotiable for China. It's like nobody, not any, nobody even talks about Taiwan anymore. Okay, Taiwan is part of China. Like nobody talks about it anymore. Where am I going dressed like this? This is how I dress every day. Do you see a girl like me? Like I could just go anywhere not looking good? Please. Yeah, Department of Defense, right? DOD. Trump changed America's Department of Defense to Department of War in 2026. The US wants to go to war. That's the thing. China wants peace and good trading relationships, and the United States wants war. I'm telling you, if 2026 something big like a big war doesn't happen, if like nukes are not dropped somewhere on this rock that's floating around, that would be a miracle. If 2026 the United States does not get nuked, if there are no nuclear weapons thrown at China, Iran, or Moscow, if none of those countries are nuked by somebody, it will be a miracle. But remember, I told you, President Xi is a psychopath. Okay? He's a psychopath president, okay? You don't get to be like the leader of China and not be a psychopath. When President Xi says that if you mention Taiwan, we are going to go into a war, he's hoping to win that war. For him, it's a matter of disrespect. that you have the audacity to come and take a territory of China. You have the audacity, right? He will be winning that. Right now, the US has done all the simulations it has done over and over and over and over. The simulations of going to war with China, the US has lost every time. And that came from Pete Hegseth. Okay? Pete Hegseth. The Secretary of the Department of War.
This is admittedly a historic budget. It is a fiscally responsible budget.
Hello, Will. Oh shit. Okay, I gotta wait for 1 minute. I entered the wrong passcode. I'm doing good. My, right? I look like a celebrity. I told you to welcome to post traumatic release. You know, the celebrity is me. You see, I'm doing weights, I'm getting muscles. The celebrity is me. Mm. Moi is half Ghanaian, half Lebanese. Me, I'm 100% sub-Saharan Africa. Mm.
This is admitted. China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America. That is their strategic outset. In the past X number of years, 10, 12, 15, the Pentagon has a perfect record in all of its war games against China. We lose every time inside the Pentagon war games. We know what our real capability. You see, we didn't even get to this part of the war on warriors. I mean, the military-industrial complex, the way we procure weapon systems. We're always the way our system works, the way our bureaucratic system works, where the speed of weapons procurement works. We're always a decade behind in fighting the last war. Whereas China, we have what did Rumsfeld say? You go to the war, the army you have. We have the army. China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America. That is their strategic outset. Take hypersonic missiles. So if our whole power projection platform is aircraft carriers and the ability to project power that way strategically around the globe. But yeah, we have a nuclear triad and all of that, but a big part of it. And if 15 hypersonic missiles can take out our 10 aircraft carriers in the first 20 minutes of a conflict, what does that look like? China's building an army.
You lose a war in 20 minutes. That's what it looks like. He didn't even stutter. He did not even stutter. And that is the Secretary of War. That's the Minister of the Department of War telling you the United States always has very accurate military simulators. And every time those simulators, they look at a war with China, the United States always loses. That's the Secretary of War. Don't even believe what I say. He's the Secretary of War. He got all the inside scoop. And he's telling you, we're now winning on this one. I know that's the, that's a very good question, CJ. You say, why would these great countries war with each other with so much to lose, right? I mean, I just put on lotion every day. When I shower, I put on lotion, and then I put on like something like liquid, like baby oil you put in on your after you shower. And I do that every day. Every day I shower, I put on lotion. I have very beautiful skin. Yeah, my skin is beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Why would the biggest loser obviously would be the United States, right? If you have so much, you have more to lose, right? Right now the US is still the leader of the world, right? And the reason the US is the leader of the world, even if it could not win against a war in China, which is to say, technically China is the leader, right? But nobody's saying that loudly. It's the secret, right? If China can, if every time the US goes to war with China, right? The simulation shows that China would win. Is technically China is the leader. Hello, China already won. But here's the thing: they haven't gone into war, so China is like, I am happy to let you lead. I am happy to let you lead. I am happy to not challenge the empire. China doesn't like to challenge the empire. And you know why China doesn't like to challenge the empire? Because China has watched a lot of empires rise and fall. China has seen its own dynasty rise and fall. It has seen the Roman Empire rise and fall. It has seen the British Empire rise and fall. It now seeing the United States Empire rise and fall. It's just the way empires do. They rise and they fall. It's no empire rules forever. And it's okay to shine and go down, boom, it's okay. But the US doesn't want to go down like that. The US does not want to go down the way other empires do. It does not want that. And that's why we are in a situation where everybody is pretending that China is not an empire, that China is not as powerful as it is. Everybody is trying to pretend that is not the case. But China is powerful, right? And why is everybody going to go to war? Is because the US wants to maintain its global power, its hegemony in the world as the superpower, as the only superpower, right? It's the pride that comes with the United States. Like we can only live in an environment where we are the only superpower. We do not want to go back to the good old days when we were under the British Empire and or when we were insignificant. The United States is like, we want the cake and we want to eat it. That's why the United States wants to annex Canada, wants to annex Greenland, wants to annex territories in the Middle East, wants to put weapons in Taiwan, wants to put weapons in Ukraine, right? They want total dominance. The United States is not gonna get that. There's no way to get that. Until you destroy yourself trying to get that. Because already the United States could not win a war against Afghanistan, against Vietnam, struggling to even topple the Iranian Empire. It cannot have all that. Like math tells you, it cannot have all that. It's now becoming a menace to international order. Yeah, it's now becoming a thorny issue. United States and Israel, they're becoming a disruption, not in a good way, in a way that assures them that they might get destroyed. And I don't know how soon that will come. It all depends on the psychopath. Mm. It all depends on the psychopath. I told you President Z is a psychopath. Okay? It all depends on him. He wakes up one day and he decides, good night, Washington. And we are cooked. Okay? We are literally cooked. He wakes up one day and he says, night night. I'm done with this shit. You still keep talking about Taiwan, and I told you to shut up about Taiwan. Right? He's actually told the United Trump went to China, and Trump is like a big mouth, and he was told, you're not gonna talk about Taiwan here. No more talk about Taiwan. Talk about Taiwan is inviting me to come play with nukes with you. Like he's just he, I told you he's a psychopath. He don't play like that. He will smile, give you a military parade, welcome you, give the nicest, and then he'll tell you, yeah, you talk about Taiwan, we are going to war. I said Taiwan is off the table. We're not even talking about that. Mm. You know, America wants Taiwan to put military there so that they can threaten China. And China says, that's an all-out war. I won't have you do that. I'll go to war with you if you want to come closer. Like the Little Red Riding Hood. You know how Little Red Riding Hood, um, the wolf, the grandmother always wants her to come closer, and she's like, "Hey, grandma, why do you have such big eyes?" Oh, my daughter, it's so that I can see you well. I'm an old woman. I need to eyes so that I can see you. Oh, grandma, why do you have such big ears? Oh, my child, I have these big ears so that I can hear you when you're coming from far. I'm old, grandma. China will not play that game with the United States, with Taiwan. Okay, China is now going to allow the United States to start talking about independence of Taiwan. They need to be free, blah, 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 so that the United States can come and put weapons in Taiwan. Let me tell you, the United States doesn't care whether Taiwan is independent of China. The United States just wants to put military weapons there in China. That's the goal. it will support a dictator in Taiwan, okay? A leader who is not democratic in Taiwan, as long as that leader will allow the United States to put weapons in Taiwan. Okay? It doesn't fucking care whether the people of Taiwan are so what democratic. The United States is trying to take rights away from its own citizens. It doesn't care about Taiwan's like determination, right? It will support a dictator in Taiwan. That's that's how I want you to see, like, that's why China is like, nobody in the world cares about the independence of Taiwan. Not the United States, not China. They just want to control weapons and put military bases in Taiwan. Nobody cares about the independence of Taiwan. China will destroy Taiwan before the US can even invade it, if it has to. Right? Like, Taiwan is Taiwan is a territory of China. Taiwan is not independent. Taiwan is not independent. Taiwan is recognized by the United Nations as a territory of China. You think China is going? Yeah, it is. It is. It is. So China is never going to let Taiwan become independent. Like, Taiwanese can dream about Taiwanese independent. It's never going to happen for them. It's not going to happen for them. Yeah, I'm saying it's a territory of China. It is recognized as a territory of China. Taiwan is not recognized as an independent country by the United Nations. Right? It's not recognized like, oh, yeah, you can say it's made from Taiwan, whatever. But under the international nations, it's not, it's a territory of China. So China says, we're not going to talk about Taiwan. If anybody wants Taiwan to become independent, let them come through me first, because Taiwan is my territory. That's what China says. If you want Taiwan to be independent, you come through me. You come through my guns and my men and everybody who wants to take this, right? Uh, and China told that to President Trump on his visit. China told him, like, we're not gonna talk about this. If we're going to talk about Taiwan, is with guns, okay? Is pew pewing each other. That's the only time we're having that conversation. Let me see who wants to come take Taiwan from me. That's China. We're gonna pew pew each other on this one. China said that. China is like, bitch, who wants to come take Taiwan from me? Okay, I'm waiting. China told Trump, like, hey, let me see you do it. It's the one issue of China that is like, that is war. You're declaring war on this empire. If you talk about taking Taiwan, because Yeah, I just want you to see the relationship. Like Taiwan is part of China. Anybody who wants to take Taiwan or wants to talk about independence of Taiwan, China is like, I already took Taiwan. I already I already unalived a bunch of them and took this territory. It's now mine. And I told the United Nations that this territory is mine, is mio. If you want to take it, if you want to tell these delusional people of Taiwan that they are independent, I'ma pew pew you. Pew 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 pew. Okay. That's hey, I'm the messenger, okay? Uh, hey Eddie, don't I don't know. This is the story, okay? This- as as funny as it sounds, that's the story. Okay. China already took Taiwan. Now remember, China could have let Taiwan be, but Taiwan was getting too close with the United States. Okay? Look, if China was to put any weapons, let's say in Cuba, like the way like Cuba and Moscow and China are like that, the United States gets angry because it's too close, right? It's too close for comfort. You know, that's international politics. It's too close. You can't just come too close for comfort. Like, you can't come too close, right? An empire has to protect itself. Like, you can't just come too close and threatening anything, right? It's just, yeah, Cuba is not the USA, right? But it's close to the United States. And if Cuba was to accept to have a Chinese military base there and put nuclear weapons facing the United States, believe you me, the United States will have no choice other than attack Cuba, okay? And take out whoever leader is there. And if possible, annex that territory altogether, right? The same way Moscow did with Ukraine, right? It's politics, you know. China decides Taiwan is not any more independent because they're not behaving the way they are, and that's a gonna that's the story. Okay, i'm not I'm not telling you what's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what's the story, what's it's about, right? And it's so fiery that China said, if you come here talking to me about Taiwan, my territory that I already took over, we're gonna pew pew each other. And you know, when US and China pew pews each other, who will win? You just know who will win if they pew pew each other. Pew, 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 pew. Okay? The only way the United States wins against China is if it will send nuclear bombs to China first before China uses nuclear weapons to the United States. If they decide we're just gonna pew pew each other and not use nukes, nobody gets nuked, China will win that war. But I told you, President Xi is a psychopath. And Trump, what is Trump? Trump sometimes is foolish because now he thinks they are best buddies with President Xi because President Xi gave him the parade and showed him like he's the president. He's eating that up. I would not trust President Z. Myself, I would not trust that psychopath president, even if he showed me that the motorcade, the singing and playing the Star Spangled Banner, even if he played it, I would not trust him. I would still expect him to nuke me before I nuke him. That's how I think. Like, I would not trust him. But I'm not a psychopath, but I would not trust him at all. Never trust a psychopath. Never trust a psychopath. The US does not want to fight China. The only reason that the US does not want to fight China right now is because the US knows it cannot win a fight with China right now. That's the only reason they're not fighting, right? We will see. We will see. Either we have two things. Either we have two things and we don't have another choice apart from having either these two outcomes. One is we have a balance of power. The US controls this side and China controls this side, and they decide to balance the power, right? To share power and balance it, and it's good, right? Now, y'all know if two bulls fight, the grass in the middle gets demolished. Two bulls fighting, the grass gets demolished, right? So we all don't want to get demolished. If China and the US fights, it's us, the common people, that will pay the price ultimately. But if they fight, we will have only one superpower. There are only two outcomes. We either have a balance of power or we have one superpower. This is the war that we are getting into. The wars of the empire. Whoosh. You've seen this Chinese aura, even the way they take out their flags. Okay, these people are prepared to fight. Fight. I don't want to be the grass in the middle. Okay, I don't want to be the grass in the middle. But there can only be two outcomes. Either we have a balance of power, the United States and China, they decide to just share power because they are both powerful right now, or they decide to fight it to the death, that only one of them emerges as the leader of the world. If I was the United States, I would choose not to fight China because China wants to just keep the peace. China is okay with sharing power, doing business with the United States. You would think the United States would be happy with that powerful position. You still get to be a superpower. You don't get destroyed by anybody. You share power. You get to build your military base, maybe enrich it before going to a war with a big nation like China. You get time to build your economy. You get time to build your market. No, the United States wants to go to war. I don't even know what kind of demon is telling President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu to keep going to war, but they want to go to war. They seriously believe that if they go to war, they can take all the resources of Iran, their uranium, their oil, right? And then they can annex Canada, and they can take over Greenland, and then secure the United States hegemony for the near future. That's the plan. And then they want Israel to take a big share of the Middle East. They have Canada, they have Greenland, and then they have a big share of the Middle East, and then they can squeeze China, and it will be night night for China. That's the goal. It's a good, ambitious goal. It's ambitious and it's a big goal. The math does not support it. It's not feasible. It is almost impossible for it to happen because the United States has not won any war since Vietnam. The world knows it, the US knows it, even the military simulations say so. But they still want to go to war. They still want to go to war. Exactly. Some people argue that they do not need to win. They just need to destabilize other countries enough to stay in power. They just need to bring about chaos and instability so that they can stay in power and fuel the war. So we have a war economy, like real vigilantes, right? Fuel an economy just through war. I mean, you can choose to fuel an economy outside of war. Like Chinese empire has risen without, apart from the war that they did with Taiwan, the massacre, okay? We're not gonna forget the Tiananmen Square, right? Um, they had that massacre, but that was because of military, right? They didn't want US bases there. But apart from that, China has risen into an empire without going to war. It's not like the British Empire, had to do all these wars and colonies and all that, right? China has risen to power with doing business with nations out of cooperation, out of diplomacy, out of negotiation. It has risen without going to war. And that's impressive. I don't know what you think about China, right? But it's impressive. It has it has come at a cost of freedoms, um, to its country, to its people, right? China, there is no freedom. You just can't like think about, oh, wake up one day and start like going to criticize the government. In China, in China, you're not that free. Okay. The government tells you this is not a democracy. Okay. It's not a democracy. Don't expect like we are going to treat you like you have rights. Um, we are here to build the Chinese economy. And if your rights need to be thrown out the window, they will be thrown out the window. Um, and that's the danger of countries that do business with China. Even if China says that it does not and it will not kind of like interfere with your internal politics, it will influence governments to be a little bit more totalitarian to their own citizens. It's going to influence countries to be more uncompromising to its citizens because you have to sacrifice some things, right? Um, I don't see like anybody in the military in China deciding, oh, I wanna do a boob job, and I want to do like uh, a Brazilian butt lift, and then still join the army. In China, you're not gonna do that. You know, you're not gonna do that. And you have to think about it, right? We are talking about people who are going to war with China, who wake up one day and their biggest problem is whether they have fillers to fill in their lips, or they'll do like by Brazilian butt lip, like stuff like that, right? Those are the people that are fighting against China. Mhm. China hasn't fought anybody in decades, which is a good thing for them. They're not exhausted. They have resources, right? They have been observing and watching. China doesn't have to fight too many wars. It only has one enemy that could threaten its order, and that's the United States. It's saving up everything for one war, just one. It doesn't need to fight a billion wars. It only wants to fight one good war, just one. All its resources, just one. It doesn't have other enemies that it is so afraid of. It only has got one possible enemy. It already destroyed Taiwan, like already even took over Taiwan. Nobody else, like, even, and this is the thing, right? Not everybody in Taiwan wants to be free from China. That's the thing. Even Taiwanese, they would rather just be under China. Most of them, right? The only reason that the United States brings about these politics is to get into China's hair. But Taiwanese understand that they do not want to end up like Ukraine. They do not want to be destroyed by China like Ukraine. And so they already gave up their rights. They're like, hey, we don't need rights if rights means that we lose our family members, and we lose access to the mainland, and we lose access to our families in the mainland and our businesses. They're like, nah, let the empire do its thing. Most of them are like that. Most of them are like, we don't fucking care about our freedoms. We just want to survive here and build businesses and have family members. Like, we don't want those rights and freedoms. Buy freedoms, buy. They're like, we don't want to end up like Ukraine. Nah, it's not worth it for them. They're like, we don't care, right? They're happy. They're fine. Most of them are happy and fine. It's only those ones that, you know, that kind of want to have, that just want to sell the idea of Taiwan. The West is selling them like independent democracy. Most of them don't care. Most of them just want to be those rogue politicians that are not even democratic, right? To have a share of Taiwan to exploit with corruption and allow weapons to come through and stuff like that. China's never gonna allow that. You can bet your life on it. China is like, anybody try to come take Taiwan, I got nukes for you. I got pew pews lined up for you. Let me see who wants to try. Okay. China be like, let me see who wants to get pew pew right now. Line up. Come take Taiwan from me, bitch. Just come. Okay? Let me see you motherfucking try. I got pew pews. Doop doop doop. I got nukes. Doop doop doop. Uh, right? China said, let me see. He told Trump to his face. Trump told Trump to his face. Talk about taking Taiwan from me. It's gonna be a sad day.
China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America. That is their strategic outset. In the past X number of years, 10, 12, 15, the Pentagon has a perfect record in all of its war games against China. We lose every time inside the Pentagon war games. We know what our real capability. You see, we didn't even get to this part of the war on warriors. I mean, the military-industrial complex, the way we procure weapon systems. We're always the way our system works, the way our bureaucratic system works, where the speed of weapons procurement works. We're always a decade behind in fighting the last war. Whereas China, we have what did Rumsfeld say? You go to the war, the army you have. We have the army. China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America. That is their strategic outset. Take hypersonic missiles. So if our whole power projection platform is aircraft carriers and the ability to project power that way strategically around the globe. But yeah, we have a nuclear triad and all of that, but a big part of it. And if 15 hypersonic missiles can take out our 10 aircraft carriers in the first 20 minutes of a conflict, what does that look like? China's building.
He's saying, and you gotta listen to him because he's the Secretary of War. He's saying the U.S. dominate with air, in the air, right? Not on the ground. The U.S. does not dominate on boots on the ground. It dominates with air capabilities, like aircraft capabilities. That's the U.S. strategic advantage. It's not the submarines, it's not men on boots, it's the air. Okay? And China can wipe out most of that in like 20 minutes. Okay. We? Okay? Who wants to be pew-pewed by China? That's the Secretary of War. He's telling you that this is the game. We dominate on air. But these guys can wipe out shit in 20 minutes. Here, even a small Google search, Eddie will tell you Taiwan officially, the Republic of China, is not recognized by the United Nations and is not a member state of the United Nations. Following Resolution 2758 passed in 1971, which recognized the People's Republic of China, PRC, as the only legitimate representation to the UN. The UN considers Taiwan to be a province of China, always referring to it as Taiwan province of China. Well, you think the UN is not shit? Well, that's your opinion, right? It counts as much as it counts, right? I don't care. I don't care. But that's the international order. Taiwan is a province of China. And that's why anybody trying to make this province of China to become like an independent state is not even considered by China as a state. It's considered as a province. Like you're just part of other provinces of China. That's why Z says, if you try to come here and preach nonsense to Taiwan, that they are independent, whatever nonsense that is. I don't want to hear it. You're just looking to get pew pewed. Pew 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 pew. Doop 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 boom boom boom. Okay, that's the story. Okay, and that's what after all that entrance and celebration, that is what Z told the president of the United States. Unless you want us to pew pew each other, no more talk about this province country. It's not. I already took it. I already let everybody know. I represent it in the United Nations as a province, as part of my land, the land. This is the international order. I will never lie to you. If I don't know shit, I shut up. And it doesn't even matter because, yeah, Taiwan is known as part of the Republic of China. And the UN is never going to recognize it as part of China because, as part of an independent nation, because obviously China's not going to have it. Whew. International politics are something else. Okay. This map shows you all the countries that recognize um, Taiwan independent and the ones that don't. The ones in green don't. These countries in green do not recognize Taiwan as a country. They recognize it as a province of China, right? The countries in red, those countries in red, you see those countries in red? Those are the ones that recognize Taiwan as an independent country. This is as of 2026, okay? It's a sad day for Taiwan. Nobody cares. You know, China took it, the world moved on. We are on another timeline. It's over. Taiwan, wait, Taiwan would be destroyed in a day if it did not follow Chinese commands. China decides if you're going to go to China, to Taiwan or not, right? Like there are all these like um like monks that want to go back to Taiwan. They've been exiled. And China tells them, no, you're not going to go there. We already exiled you. You're not going to Taiwan. We said no. That territory is controlled by China. Let nobody tell you otherwise. They follow Chinese, like China controls it. If you go to Taiwan, you have to get, and if you've been exiled from China, you will need to get permission from China. And they always say no. They always say no. If anybody has been exiled from Taiwan since the war and they want to go back to Taiwan, they have to go through mainland China. And China always tells them, shit, we already kicked you out. You're not coming back here. Well, unless they can master an army to go and defeat the Chinese empire, which apparently nobody in the world, even the United States, cares to go to war with, Taiwan is as good as done. It's like they're done. And anybody who tries to come to now take Taiwan away from China, China be like, bitch, let me see you try. You gonna come, you wanna die because of Taiwan? You wanna come and die because of Taiwan? Let me see who wants to die for Taiwan. Nobody's gonna die for Taiwan. Fuck that shit. Nah. Americans are busy dying for Israel. And now Taiwan? Nobody's gonna do that shit. Too many dead bodies for who now? That is why China does not want to go to war. That's a good point, right? China doesn't want to go back. It doesn't want to go to war. It this is what China said with the United Nations. It said it wants peace. It's also said that it really wants peace. It's China said no talk of Taiwan. Pew 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 if you do. And then China says, we just want to trade happily and just do business happily. We do not want to disrupt any order. We do not want to do any bad things. You know, we just want to trade and we just want everything to be peaceful so that we can trade. Because, yeah, Eddie, you're right. China doesn't want to go back economically, it doesn't want to go any back when it comes to the economy. It wants to protect the economy and and the growth of China. That's their most important thing. They don't care for anything else, right? But their military is not for show. Their military is not like a decoration. You know, they don't train their men and create weapons for show. I mean, it's good to deter your enemy. It's good to deter your enemies from attacking you. Them knowing that you can fight back is enough deterrence. Like, it's like a bully in school. When I realized that my ability to fight bullies in school made them not made them not target me. You know, I had this one girl. She always was bullying me, fighting me, bullying, fighting me, beating me up, right? Because because I did not know, like, coming from my family is not a violent family, okay? So we are very peaceful, nice people. Like for me, when I started going to school, I had never been in a fight, okay? I had never beaten somebody. Nobody has ever beaten me. My mom never beat me at all for anything, right? So when my mom died and I went to this home that I was living with other kids, I didn't know how to fight. Okay, I had no zero skills. I couldn't fight for anybody. Okay, I didn't know how to fight. I was afraid of fighting. I would run away, I would hide. I still run away and hide from fights. But this girl, she kept beating me up over and over and over and over, and she was even tinier than me, but she kept beating me up, beating me up. One time I was in the bathroom, I was taking a shower, and she comes, takes my water, like starts beating me up. And for some reason, I beat her up that day. I don't know why, what made me angry, but I got so angry, I beat the shit out of her. She never, ever, ever, ever tried to fight me again. Ever. Right? Never fought me again at all. Because she understood, right? Now I could fight her. And my ability to fight her that one day, before I couldn't fight. So she always won. by default, always won because I would not fight her, right? She always beat me up until that day I beat her up. And that day when I beat her up, something changed inside of me, right? I realized, oh, they stop beating you when you fight back. That's the day that I understood that I need to fight, right? Or show people that I am capable of fighting back. Like, even after that, I even used to fight little boys, okay? I would fight them up. And even the boys, they came to fear me. And why did they fear me? Is because they knew she's gonna fight back. It doesn't matter. Like, you just can't beat that one up. That one, she will bite you, she will kick you, she will throw stones at you. Like, that one is a crazy bitch. Now, everybody knows Z is a crazy bitch, right? And you might say, okay, they use their military for deterrence. It's true. It's always good to deter people, but that doesn't mean they can beat you up. Hey, just logged and on you change your hair. Don't think you could improve on perfection you did through. Thank you, love. Thank you, Stefan. Well, nobody likes to be maimed, okay? I know, like, the US probably has a military of like 2 million, maybe 4 million. I think China can have like around 17 million. Those people are more than a billion. It's easy to find 17 million people to go to war. Even if some run and some hide, because let's face it, there are people like me in the Chinese army. If you got me to fight for you, I will run and hide. I'm not fighting nobody. See, some people are smart. Some people like me, we are smart, okay? Even if you forced me to join the army, doesn't mean I'll fight. I will be one of those people that run and hide. Yeah, I'ma tell it straight. Like, I'm not fighting for any. Okay, I don't fight for nobody. Okay, this is the reason I don't have kids and I'm single. Okay, I would fight for Kenya. I would fight for Kenya. Okay, just because there are people who fought for me. Like, there are Kenyans who've been buried alive and died because to give me freedom. I would fight for Kenya, but only if I trusted the government. Like, the government in Kenya right now, I would not fight for it. I'm like, I'm done. Let me just, no, I'm not fighting for the government in Kenya right now. It's too corrupt. If it was, if it was a worthwhile fight, I would fight for my country. But right now, I don't have the, I don't want to go to war and fight for anybody, if you know what I mean. I would rather be safe. Okay. I would rather be safe myself. So I do get, like, there are people in the military in China who will run. There are also people in the military in the United States who will run. I think most girls will run. Okay. Most men, most men, um, most men will probably not run from a war, but most girls like me don't trust a girl like me to go to war and fight for you. Don't trust me because I will not fight. I will run. I will run and hide under the rocks, under and under the caves. I will look for caves and hide and wait for the war to end. If you force me to go into war, I will still look for a way to help myself not fight. You can't force me to go to war. You force me to go to war to fight China, I'll go to China, look for a Chinese man, marry him so that he can protect me. Like, that's how fast I'm not fighting for it. Okay? That's how quick I'm not fighting for anybody. It's just self-preservation. Okay? You know, but if you're a man and you're a soldier, you don't have the luxury of hiding and going to your enemy country and marrying somebody, because they will get you and they will pew pew you. Pew 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 pew. Right? You don't do that as a man. You don't have the luxury unless you want to hide in the forest and live in the forest forever. For us, women is different. It's like, hey, I surrender. I'm part of China now. I will get a Chinese man. They'll be like, oh, there are so many men in the village. You're such a beautiful woman. Oh, come marry the king of this village. It's easy for me to escape any war. That's why I'm like, I'm not fighting for anybody. I'll just preserve myself. But if you're a man, if you're like, if you come, let's say you're from China and you come to the United States and it's during the war, you only have two things: to either kill or be killed. You don't have a choice of that war. You just have to go to that war and fight and get pew pewed or pew pew somebody, you or run into the forest somewhere. Most men don't have a choice. They will get pew pewed. It is, well, it doesn't matter who did what. The end justifies the means, right? The end justifies the means. Maybe, the US was very happy to abandon manufacturing to China, and the US always made fun of China. Oh, their air quality is so bad. They don't even pay their workers well. We have technology now. We have Microsoft. We can live the soft life. We can abandon all these difficult things. Let's leave it to China. Like, we don't you know it was also the attitude of the United States and the people and the culture. They were done with the industrial revolution. They wanted to eat with a silver spoon. It was also the culture and the people. They were happy to abandon manufacturing because they did not want to have these air problems, because they come with a sacrifice. They come with a sacrifice. They were happy to abandon those things and leave it to China. China was happy to be like, oh, you're dropping the gold to me. You're dropping the gold right here. I'ma take it. I'ma take it. China controls the rare minerals that are used to make weapons. You know, China controls almost all the all the fundamentals of creating weapons and bombs and everything. China has more networks and trade relationships across this planet more than the United States. Yeah. So if abandoning the manufacturing for some time, it served the United States. abandoning all those manufacturing capabilities. Obviously, at some point, it was paying. It was a good bargain. It was a good bargain at some point. It was good for the United States. China grew, the United States grew, its communication and transport and networks, the building things like Amazon, building things like Apple, like the US grew. There was a benefit for the United States. It was not, a lot of people think that the US, it was like a zero sum game. Of course, it was not a zero sum game. If the US abandoned manufacturing, it was because it gained something else that it valued more than manufacturing. Only the end did not justify the means, you know, because of the situation the United States is in right now. The the situation we are in right now just shows China is doing better than us, and the end did not justify the means. Is not justifying like giving up all that manufacturing right now is not well justified on the bottom line, on the balance sheet, on the, you know, we have more debt. So the end does not justify the means here. But that's something you never know when you're making those calculations, right? I think it's a lesson that everybody learns from. It's a lesson that China will learn from the United States as an empire if it rises to become the hedge, the only power, right? Yeah, a hegemony. I think it's a lesson China will learn from the United States, that you do not give up. You do not give up the base. You don't give up the. It's a lesson. It's a good lesson to learn, right? You don't give up manufacturing. You don't give up the goose that lays the golden eggs. You just don't give it up, right? It's a lesson to learn. And maybe China will be tempted to give up manufacturing to Africa. Africa will be happy to take it from China, but I don't think China will do that. China's not gonna do that. It's not gonna let. China is going to make everybody be indebted to China. I told you China is a psychopath. We're going to be indebted to China so much so that even if you started manufacturing, you still owe China billions and billions of dollars to just fuel its superpower capabilities and hegemony. Yeah. I believe dynasties rise and fall too. And I know that Chinese empire, even if it rises, it's not gonna stay forever and ever. It's also going to go down. It's a cycle, rise and fall, right? They rise and they fall, they rise and they fall. So it's not going to stay forever. Even if it rises, it's not gonna stay forever. And even if it rises, it doesn't mean that the United States has to collapse completely for China to rise, unless some idiot in Washington makes it that we have to go to war, and then we lose a bunch. It doesn't have to go like the US is the global superpower right now, but I mean Britain is still there. Not destroyed, but just like a fallen star, like it used to be a 5 star. Right now, Britain is like a 3 or 2 star, Let's give it a 3 star, you know. It's, US was a 5 star. Now, US is becoming like a 4 star, right? And China used to be like a 3 star. Right now, China is becoming like a 4 star because I don't think China is a 5 star yet. But, you know, people lose value, things lose value, countries lose value, companies lose value. Um, you know, very few companies are like Coca-Cola, right? Even Coca-Cola right now is not the most preferred drink in the world. There's Pepsi, there's, there's Bull, what do you call it? Th- There's other drinks, right? There's kombucha. Dynasties rise and fall. Companies are not always going to perform at peak performance. It's just the nature of life. Things change, you know. The problem is having a problem with change. And I think this is the problem that we're having with Washington. Washington has a problem with change. It just doesn't know how to quite react to a dominant China. Even President Trump doesn't know how to give President Xi a handshake because of all this shit that he's been saying about Xi. And then he goes to China, and China is like, "I'm the bitch here." Mm, yeah, I told you to. Yeah, and he's like, "You're checking me?" I'm like, all right, bro. But it's just the way things go. That is politics. You would think my channel is about politics because of how much I like talking about politics. But I am actually not political. I just did political studies in my undergrad. I actually love to talk about mental health. And I am writing a class on mental health, and it's going to be soon. My website is coming soon, and you will learn about health, finances. Make sure you buy my class, okay? You don't want a girl like me going broke because you didn't buy my classes, you didn't recommend my classes. And I put so many time here on YouTube, writing classes, like telling you guys to buy my classes. You better buy my classes, and you better write me good reviews, okay? Because you're going to learn a lot. A lot, not about politics this time. We're going to do personal development, helping you with understand the financial market here in the United States and how you can take advantage of investing, things like that, right? Understanding you're the CEO of your life, you can fire and promote people in your life, okay? You can fire Starbucks, you can fire, you know, all these other companies you're subscribed to. When you don't have money, you can always fire them because you're the CEO of your life, right? You fire people, and and have money extra to invest, right, in your own managed portfolio. Don't hire money managers. People should not be managing your money. It's not a good idea. That's why you need those financial principles that we're going to talk about. That's financial one. We're going to talk about healing trauma because for me, I believe trauma is stress. And if you don't understand stress, it's going to destabilize your nervous system. If you destabilize your nervous system, you're going to destabilize your life. So you had better learn those key things, right? We talk about losing weight there, the key strategies, the one rule that you must know about losing weight. You'll see that in that class. I tell you, I do not get keep at all. We're going to talk about love and relationships and things that you know about attachment theory and why you can learn to keep love, maintain love by learning about your attachment. I mean, we're talking about money, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about trauma and healing, right? A lot of good things that you're going to find on that class. So make sure that you're always subscribing. Sometimes we talk about politics, sometimes we talk about so many other things. It's just entertainment in life. But at the end of the day, you know, we all need to get our shit together. So, well, so guess, yeah, yeah, I saw user one, right? Right. Eddie, you're funny. Okay, love to see you guys. I gotta go. I it's Yesterday I said I'd do this. I'll come online, and I came online today. It's been a challenge to be online the last 2 weeks. Just a lot has changed around here. The weather is changing. It's getting hot. Like sometimes when the weather changes like that, I get a little bit stressed. Like my whole nervous system kind of has to adjust to new seasons and new weather. I don't know about you, but I have a hard time adjusting to new seasons. So I guess that's why, like the last 2 weeks, I just kind of went. But now I'm kind of like going back up again, and I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling lively. I still have to finish this class that I'm selling and complete the website. So that's why I'm not staying long online these days, but we will be talking more politics, more fun things, more mental health, everything. Make sure you exercise, you eat well, and you stay happy. May you be happy and live with a joyful heart. May you be safe and protected from all sorts of inner and outer harm. And may you live with the ease that comes with well being. I love you. God loves you. Take care.